For more or less my entire adult life I was fat, and I tried everything I could to get lean, but even after years of trying, I was still fat. I lose a bit of fat here and there, but soon enough I gain it back, and I would tell myself the classic, I'll start again on Monday more times than I can count. Eventually, after years of trying and failing, I figured it out and I managed to lose 70 pounds of body fat, but more importantly, I kept it off. And in this video, I'm going to take you through 6 very important lessons I learned along the way so that you can avoid the mistakes that I made and finally get lean for life. The first lesson is keep it simple. If I could go back in time to when I was first trying to lose fat, I would literally slap myself in the face and tell myself to stop chasing perfection because you will waste years of your life trying to do that. Back then I was obsessed with finding the most optimal approach, and I tried every fad diet you can name: keto, carnivore, paleo, vegan, and for a few weeks at a time, yes, I lose a little bit of fat, but the second I got a little bit tired or life got a little bit stressful, I'd slip up, give up, and then be back at square one. Every time that happened, I didn't learn from my mistakes. I just convinced myself more and more I had to find the perfect plan. But what you need to understand about the guys who actually get lean for life is they never find that perfect plan. They find a sustainable structure they can actually stick to. Listen, you don't need to obsess over micronutrients, carb cycling, or some special supplement stack. What you need to do is find a simple set of habits that you can actually stick to for the rest of your life. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right thing consistently. And when I personally stripped it back to that, that's when fat loss became effortless. Suddenly I was no longer worried about how many carbs I ate or what time I was eating, and I could focus on the stuff that actually moved the needle, being in a calorie deficit, getting my steps in, hitting the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and eating enough protein. That's it. And because I could actually stick to that, I finally lost fat and I finally saw the results I wanted. So take a simple approach. Look, your brain is going to tell you that it won't work, but I'm telling you, as someone who has lost fat and someone who has coached many other men now to lose fat, it will work as long as you stay consistent. Even if you're skeptical and you don't think this is going to work, try it for just 1 month and I guarantee you will see results. And by the way, if you have no idea where to start, I've actually put together a free fat loss Kickstarter blueprint, which contains a workout plan as well as 6 free macro-friendly recipes. You can get that by clicking the second link in the description of this video, and again, that's free, so make sure you go and grab that straight after this video. The second lesson is you have to rely on structure, not willpower. I wasted years of my life waiting to feel ready, waiting for some crazy burst of motivation, and from time to time it did come, but soon after it faded, so you cannot rely on it. I go through the same cycle over and over again. Suddenly when I felt motivated, I'd be in a calorie deficit, do 15k steps a day, train 6 times a week, and do an hour of cardio a day. But soon enough, that motivation faded, and I fell off right back into my old habits. And that cycle is what some people get stuck in for 20 years, if not their entire lives. The thing is, you are never going to feel motivated every day, so do not make the mistake of relying on it. What you can rely on, however, is a simple structure. If you build your day around structure, that's when doing the right thing just becomes automatic. So plan how many calories and what meals you're going to have tomorrow. Put your workouts and when you're going to do your steps in your calendar, and I guarantee you are way more likely to actually stick to it. Because when you do that, it completely takes away the aspect of decision making. So fat loss is no longer constantly on your mind, and that's when it just seems to happen. You wake up with a clarity knowing what you need to do, and that is how you win long term. So instead of saying to yourself, ah man, I wish I had more motivation, say to yourself, you wish you had a better system, and then actually put that in place. So right now, decide what you're going to eat tomorrow and how much of it. And also decide when you're going to get your steps in. And that's the first step to putting a structure in place, which is going to make fat loss automatic. Now, lesson 3 is my favorite, I think, and it's control your environment or it will control you. Listen, I used to think I could put any food in my house and I was disciplined enough not to eat it. And sometimes I was. But when I came home at 8 p.m. after a long 10-hour day in the office and I laid down on that sofa, do you think I was disciplined? No. I went straight to that kitchen, and before I knew it, I had a tub of ice cream, half a packet of biscuits, and there was a pizza in the oven. So if your cupboards and your fridge is full of the food that's contributed to you being fat, what do you think is going to happen? So do yourself a favor and remove it from your environment. Your environment will always win in the long run. So if it's built in a way that makes it easier for you to make the right decisions, that's half the battle already. So stock your fridge and cupboards with the right foods, have high protein, low calorie snacks that are easy to grab when you're hungry. Also, delete food delivery apps off your phone. I'm being serious. It's okay to have a takeaway every now and then, but when you want one, call up and go and walk and get it. Do you know how easy it is for you to sit there at night and suddenly crave some food, click Just Eat or click Deliveroo, and 10 minutes later the food's on your lap, you have to delete those apps. But it's not just about food. Your environment also includes the people around you. If you spend your time around people who eat too much, drink a lot of alcohol, and talk shit about anyone who's trying to improve themselves, whether you like it or not, you are going to absorb that energy. Of course, I'm not telling you to ditch your friends, but try and spend time around people who have similar goals to you, similar aspirations, and will push you towards the right path. Because the fact is, you don't rise to the levels of your hopes and dreams. You fall to the level of your environment. So curate your environment in a way that makes getting lean and staying lean inevitable. On to lesson number 4, and this one took me a long time to realize, and it's slow progress equals fast results. Look, I get it. You want to lose your fat as fast as possible. I was in that position too. You live in a body you aren't comfortable in, so you're going to do whatever you can to make the process as fast as possible, but that's when you're going to make the wrong decisions. Look, I've been there and I've done that shit. I've cut my calories to 1,200. I've gone to the gym 7 days a week and done stupid amounts of cardio, but all that did was run me into the ground to the point where I had to take months off of the gym and anything to do with fat loss. I finally saw real, lasting results when I stopped asking myself, how do I get lean the fastest? And I started to ask myself, how do I get lean for life? Fat loss is the goal, yes, but it's so important you do it in a sustainable way, because if you don't keep the results, then what's the point? If you aim to lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat per week, that's steady progress that's going to compound. But not only that, when you do it at that rate, you're going to pick up the habits that will allow you to keep the results for the rest of your life. Because you will learn how to manage your cravings, learn how to go out with friends, eat and not feel guilty about it. And that's what you really need if you want to stay lean for the rest of your life. So you have to stop treating fat loss like a race, because it isn't one. Ask yourself this question: how long have you been fat? 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, a decade, your entire life? So why do you have to lose all your fat in 3 or 4 months? What if it takes 6 or 12 months and you actually do it properly? That way you can live in the body you've always dreamed of for the rest of your life, because you'll actually build the habits and the routine that is needed to sustain it. So be patient and be persistent, because that way you will see better results and more lasting results that will change your life. Now, the 5th lesson is going to completely change the way you look at fat loss forever. And it's, if you want lasting results, you have to become the kind of man that can actually stay lean. The reason so many guys end up stuck fat forever is because they're always chasing that goal, asking themselves what they can't eat and what they can't do in order to lose fat. So they're thinking like a guy who is trying to lose fat. But if you see yourself that way, you are always going to stay that way, stay chasing, and the goal will always be over there. When I switched up my own self-identity and started to think like a man who was already lean, that's when the results happened. The thing is, when your identity shifts, you no longer have to force yourself to do the things you're supposed to do, because they become automatic. You get your steps in anyway. You eat the right foods in the right amounts. You go to the gym and you do everything correctly because it's just what you do. You won't have to have those internal debates anymore, because then your actions are aligned with your self-identity and things just seem to fall into place at that point. And that secret most guys miss is the difference between the ones who lose a bit of fat and then shortly after put it back on, and the ones who lose the fat and keep it off forever. As I said earlier in the video, willpower is never enough. And desiring to lose fat is only the first step. Eventually you have to make that mental shift and shift your self-identity, because you will never be able to keep something up that is not aligned with who you are internally. So make the decision now that you're going to think like the guy who you want to be, and I promise you shortly you'll find your actions align with that reality. The 6th lesson is something a little bit different. But when I first started out, I thought the reward at the end of all of this was having abs, having a better looking face, and seeing veins in my bicep. But the real reward is the new life that you get. Because once you've built habits, discipline, and confidence, that bleeds over into every other aspect of your life. You have more energy, you're more charismatic, and you just feel better every single day. And people just treat you differently. Ask yourself this: what kind of stranger would you treat better? A fat one or one who is in shape? Exactly. You will feel like you can take charge of any situation because you have finally become the man you want to be. So don't think that losing fat is just about looking better. Yeah, that's fucking great. But your life will change in more ways than you can ever imagine. And that's when you will begin to believe you're capable of anything you put your mind to. And guess what? You fucking are. And that's what makes this entire process worth it. Yes, you will look better, but you will be a completely different person and lead a much better life. And when you get there in the future, you will look back to now and wonder why you were stuck for so long. And look, if you're done wasting your time and you want to build the body and the life that you've always wanted and you want my help on that journey, click the first link in the description of this video and I will make sure you get lean for life. Other than that, I hope this video helped. If it did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe and share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.